Well, hi Dick, and anybody else who's cared to join and have a look in. Last week we talked about the chromatic scale and so forth, which is the semitone scale. C to C sharp is a semitone, C sharp to D is a semitone, D to D sharp is a semitone. So it's known as the chromatic scale, is known as the half step. It's halfway to a tone. From C to D is a tone. Anything with a note in between it, it's got a note in between it. From there to there is a tone. And from there to there is a tone. From there to there is a tone because of the note in between. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I was going to show the structure for a C major scale, but I want to introduce the whole tone scale because that is just features like the chromatic scale. That's all half steps. This is all tones. Okay, and this formula you can start on any note and you can form the F whole tone scale, the G, the A flat, the B flat. And this type of scale, I'll play the notes for you. It is basically sometimes used in like children's TV programs and stuff. It's that's the whole tone scale. Now the structure for it, so you can start on any note that you want, and obviously the note that you're going to start on is the root, and it's the key note, and it's going to be the name of that scale. So we're going to start on C and middle C, which is there. This is the G clef or treble clef. It fixes to the second line, as we said before, makes that line G, and that tells us that that note there is G. So now we know that note is G, and it's always going to be there. We can work its way down. G, what comes before G is F in the space. What becomes F before F in the space is E on the line. What becomes before E on the line is D in a space, which is between the ledger line and the E line. And then we arrive at middle C. Okay? Now then, let's start forming the whole tone scale. Now, from one note to the next, it's going to be a tone. So this is how we work it out. So the next note we want from C is a tone away. So from C to C sharp is half step or a semitone. And from C sharp to D is another semitone or half step. And two semitones equals one tone. So from C to D is a tone because we've got the presence of the note in between. So that the next note that we want is going to be D, and that's in between there. I'll put the ledger line there so you can see. Now the next note we want is a tone away again. So, and remember, that's your new starting point. We don't start there. The note that you arrive at is your new starting point. So from D is half step, and from D sharp to E is another half step. So that's your next note, which is E, because there's a note in between. A note in between two notes, the distance or the sound of pitch that you're hearing is a tone. So the next note we want is E, and that sits on that line. Okay, so that's E. Now the next note we want is a tone away again. So from E to F is a semitone, and from F to F sharp is a semitone. And again, two semitones equals a tone. And with the note in between, the F sharp is the note that we want. So let's put the F sharp in there. Let's put F there. Let's put the F sharp there. So that's F sharp. Now the next note from F sharp is a tone away again. So there's F sharp, there's G, which is a semitone from F sharp, and from G to G sharp is a tone. F sharp to G sharp is a tone. G's in between, F sharp, G sharp. And that's your new starting point again. So let's write that in there. And when you're doing these sharps, the line has to go through the box and vice versa on spaces. Now the next note we want is a tone away again. So there's a semitone. From the G sharp to A is a semitone. And from A to A sharp is another semitone. So that's the note we want. From G sharp to A sharp is a tone, because you've got the note in between. Okay, so that's now A sharp. Let's write that one in. A sharp. Okay, now then, we want one more note, and this takes us to the upper tonic, or the key note, which that's the key note. And from A sharp to B is a semitone, and from B to C is a semitone. So from A sharp to C, with the note in between, is a tone. Okay, and that's there. Okay, now that's the whole tone scale. Okay, and that, what I've just shown you, is the structure in tones or in semitones. Okay, and every note, I can't stress, every note that you arrive at, like say from C to C sharp to D, so D is the second note that you want in this scale, that is your new starting point. So you start from there and you go over there, that's a tone, that's your third note you want, so that's your new starting point. Every new note you get, you stop. So it's like a tape measure. If you're measuring with a tape measure, you mark it an inch and you move your tape measure along and you put there and you start from that mark that you've already done for another inch. You don't go past it. Okay, so right, we've got C, we've got D, E, we've got F, I'll put the S for sharp, G sharp, A sharp and C. Now that C is the tonic, or keynote. I don't get much room on this board. Keynote. Okay, which is that. Alright. That's the tonic or keynote. And that's the name of the scale. Okay. You can't say I'm going to form the C whole tone scale and then start on, say, G, because the scale you're going to form is going to be the G whole tone scale, right? And when you've got the notes, you can mix them all up. You can do what you want, but to form it, it's all got to be in root position. It's like a plant. A plant has a root and it grows from that. The plant will grow, then you get the stem, then you get the leaves and everything else, and that plant then comes from the root. You don't see the root in the middle of the plant or on top of the plant, but in music you can see the root wherever it is once you've formed it, but that's how you form it. Okay, right, I've still got a bit of time there. So that's that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the structure anyway. The formula is tone, right, and then I won't write tone again, I'll just use the letter T for tone. Tone, 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 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. From there to there is a tone, and from there to there is a tone. There is a tone, 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 tone. That is the structure. Okay, structure. That's the structure of the whole tone scale. So I'll do it here for you again. From C to D is a tone. From D to E is a tone. You see how we're going from the note we've arrived at. We're from D, from E to F sharp is the tone. From F sharp to G is the tone. And from G sharp to A is a tone. And from A sharp to C is a tone. There's no semitones in there at all between there. From one note to the next, the distance in the interval is a tone. Okay? Right. Okay, and on this particular one, there's when people are, you get people that play by ear, pitch, you know, the ear, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's some really good musicians that don't understand anything about music, they can't read it, but they've got a really good ear for music and they can play it. And but on some musicians that do that, there's certain chords that can elude them, and one here, which is on this scale here, and I'll show you what it is. It's the first, the one, two, the third, and it's the fifth, and that is C augmented, C, E, G sharp, C augmented, and I'll write that down here for you. It's just one chord off the scale, and if I write C, and then write E, and then write G sharp, okay, that's mid C, and that would be written C augmented, or C plus, C augmented, and some can't really get that, and that's in root position, and the actual structure of the chord, if I break the chord down and do this, if I do this, split it down, C, E and G sharp for you, okay, from C to E is a tone, and from E to G sharp is a tone. Oh no, it's wrong, sorry. It's, excuse me, I'm doing that wrong. I'm building the scale again. From there to there is a major, it's two tones, which is a major third, which is two tones, and two tones again. Two tones. Okay. I'm building the scale again, we don't want to do that. So from C to E is two tones. And from E to G is another two tones, okay? So the structure of this chord, I'm going to show you what these are now. From C to E, which has got two tones in it, is known as a major third. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come back in a minute, I'm just going to scrub that off. Okay, back. Right, okay, C augmented, C plus, and this is from the whole tone scale. Alright, now I've broke the chord up, they're stacked together like that. Now I've done the individual ones so that you can see the distance from C to E is two tones, okay? From there to there is a tone, from there to there is a tone. So anything, an interval with two tones in it, okay, it's known as a major third. So that is a major third. That. And from E to G sharp is a major third. Okay. From C to E has got two tones in it. That's the structure of the major third. Okay. And to E to G sharp is a major third. Okay, now the structure of a major of a C augmented chord consists of 2 intervals of major thirds. And this is why I want to show you a bit later about chord structure, and just giving you a little bit of insight into it, you know. So you can go anywhere on the keyboard by using that 2 old tones and 2 old tones there. If we start on the note G, I don't know if you can see that there. If I come back down here, no, go there. Start on the note G. Now the next note we want is 2 tones away. So from G to A is a tone, and from A to B is a tone. So that's the note that we want, okay? Now starting from the note B, the next and last note we want in this chord, right, this structure, using this formula, is 2 tones away. So we go from B to C sharp is a tone, and then we go from C sharp to D sharp, right? Anything with a note in it is between is a tone. So it's D sharp, okay? So I'm going to write that here. So we've got G, we've got B, and we've got D sharp. Okay, and this is G plus. That's not very good. Can't write with these boards really. Have I lost me rag somewhere? Just get that up there, won't it? This is G plus, like we said, G plus or I've worked it out now, or G plus, G augmented. And if I write that, these are all coming off, look. I think the pen's running out. Try that one. Okay, so if I break that now and play it like arpeggio, that's block. If I play it there, that's G. That's that's G. That's B. That's D sharp. Okay, and the line's got to be running through that as well. D sharp. It's not very good, is it? Let's get it right. It's the board's moving. Okay. That's D sharp. That's our broken chord. So you can start on any given note, and you, by using that formula, so a major, a C augmented, the structure is 2 major thirds, okay? I'm going to let you have that one anyway. I'll write it down. The structure of an augmented chord is 2 major thirds played together. And that's the formula. Okay? 2 major thirds. And we know what a major third consists of. 2 tones. Now there is another major third, and it's a minor third, and they're the ones that we'll be leading up to, showing how to construct other chords, major chords and minor chords, and the structure is all to do with these major and minor thirds stacking on top. Okay, and also you've got the scales, which you've got chords on every note that's within the scale itself or in the key of whatever you're playing in. So I don't want to tax you too much, but hopefully what I'm trying to do, if I put that back there, is I'm trying to eventually get you to sort of like, I don't know, read something like, see this. I don't know if you can see that. Let me bring it a bit nearer. You got, say, here you got C, C minor, and you got these single notes, and it's a treble, okay, and we got an F sharp at the beginning.